presentation skill. The last time I presented, trying to see whether there will be an improvement today. So today we'll be looking at effective time management. It'll be one of the shortest too. Promise that this will be one of the shortest presentation we're going to have today. Effective time management. Okay. Effective time management is a critical skill for success in life and work. There's no way we can talk more about it than that. Because organizing your time will give you more time to do the things that you love to do. If you end up wasting your time on one thing without considering the value of other things that you have to do, you end up not achieving much with your time. So this presentation today is actually not meant to cover all the areas of time management, because we don't have all the time to talk about it. Like they say, there's no time to check time. Yes, yeah. So, but it will be limited to just 7 strategies for better time management. So just look at 7 strategies for better time management, and I promise it will be worth our while if we really give attention to it. Let's think about this. This quote made by 3Js. I heard him for the first time when he made this statement in 2006. He said, the greatest gift you can give someone is your time. Because when you give your time, you are giving a portion of your life that you will never get back. Yeah, you can spend your money with anybody. When you spend your money, you can get it back. You can get your money back. Buy something for somebody, you can always get another thing back. But when you spend your time with somebody, you are spending a portion of your life with that person. There is no way you're going to get it back again. So the more reason we need to know the people and the place and the reason we spend our time. You need to be sure there is value to what you are spending your time for. You have to attach value to it all the time, because people are there to take your time. But if you create the value, what do I want to spend this 7:30 to 8:30 for? What is it going to benefit me? How is it going to change my life? And then you will know how to apply it. And this one, like Buddha said, the trouble is, you think you have time. Yeah, everybody thinks you have time, but really don't have time. So it becomes very, very important for us to manage it very well. Okay? So when we look at time management itself, these guys, this is what they have to say about it, Jordan Sunday. So the term time management is a misnomer, according to them. So you cannot manage time, you manage the events in your life in relation to time. I think that makes sense. It's because you cannot pause the time. You want to do something, and you want the time to stand still. No, the time will not stand for you. You may often wish for more time, but you only get 24 hours, 1,440 minutes, or 86,400 seconds each day. So the result you get out of it depends on how you use the time. So everybody has 24 hours to do business, to do anything, to achieve your life goal with. So how you manage it, or how you go about it, how you use the time, will determine the result you will get out of it. All right, so let's look at the 7 strategies. Number 1 is to know how you spend your time. Know how you spend your time. Value my time very well. I will not allow anything to get in the way. As a matter of fact, any day I come to work and there is nothing that I have achieved, like a knowledge added, it looks like I've wasted the day. So analyze where most of your time is devoted. Is it in your job? Is it in your family? Is it even recreation? What is it that you're devoting your time to the most? You know, it will make you know how you're spending the time. By the time you identify those things, especially the ones that are taking your time most, you'll be able to know if you are investing it properly or not. And then you will know the next line of action to take. So I was supposed to tell Mr. Tony. So investing your time wisely will start from knowing those areas where you concentrate more on. Is it at your job because you were meant to spend 8 hours at work? After work, what else do you do? And even at work, are you really doing the job? Or you're using the time to do other things? So by the time you look at it critically, you will know if you sit down and you begin to draw it, it's okay, from so hour to so hour, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what I did. You will know that a chunk of the time is spent doing a particular thing. Then you will know if that thing is really worth it. You can now decide on the next line of action to take. Number 2 is to set your priorities. So effective use of your time often requires a distinction between what is important and what is urgent. So it is not all the things that are very important, that are very urgent, that are necessary for you to do at a time. There are some things that are not very important, but the way they will be pushing you to bring it, you may end up leaving the most important aspect of the things you are supposed to do and then focus on the less important ones. So we look at the urgency and importance matrix. You will see that there are 4 of them, and number 1 will tell you the most important one down to number 4, which is the least important. There are things that are of high importance and high urgency. You need to pay attention to those ones. The ones that will give you the result that you need, like the report we're doing the other day. Very, very important, and then there's deadline, there's time attached to it. Such things you must give your priority attention to. The second one is a high importance thing but of low urgency. Okay, it could be the same report, like because of the terrain that we are now. If your reporting date is 18th of this month and the work is like somebody is trying to do it today to finish, meanwhile there are other things to do.
Let's go down.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So meanwhile there are other things to do. You will end up leaving the most important, the things that are urgent right now, that are also a little bit equally important. But this, number 2, you still have time for it, so you can maybe be doing it bit by bit. But when it is really as high as number 1, you give all your attention to it. And the third one, there are things that are not really important, but like I said before, they keep pushing you to do it. Those things, you need to watch out for them. And others are actually of low importance and low urgency. So you need to prioritize how you spend your time on those areas. So the third is to schedule your time appropriately. Because people can really steal your time if you don't schedule yourself appropriately. If you don't schedule your time appropriately, it will shock you how that a little thing will just come and distract you. You wouldn't even know that time has gone. So even the busiest people find time for what they want to do and feel important. Scheduling is not just recording what you have to do, e.g. meetings and appointments. It's also making a time commitment to the things you really want to do. You need to be deliberate about it. So many things are going to try to distract you, but you have to be deliberate about scheduling your appointment. That is why in some very formal offices, if you don't have appointment, you cannot barge in on some people. You can't crash in on their time. Yeah, you must set a particular time before you come. So, and then I like this. You plan your most challenging tasks for when you have the most energy. When I was in the bank, there is this head of operation, where, one of the branches I worked. He is very good at responding to emails. Very, very good at that. There's hardly any email that gets to him that he will not attend to it. He will leave the ATMs, and then he had 4 ATMs to load for that day, for every day. He will not load it from 1 or 2 o'clock as it is expected. He will leave it for when it is 4:30 and say, hey guys, oh yeah, we are loading ATM, and it takes a minimum of 1 hour to load one. Yeah, it takes a minimum of 1 hour to load one, because you need to sort the cash and then prepare it very well, count the notes and make sure everything is ready. It will be dirty. But if you plan your most challenging tasks for when you have the most energy, you will notice that you will not have so much error. Even at those times, will surely have either overage or shortage. So overage is when you have more cash than you have already imputed on the machine. So, but when you try to see the work that will take more of your time, it should be done when you have energy, when the time is still bright, like early in the morning, you are still very healthy, so your mind is still thinking straight. You focus your attention on those tasks at that time, and then get help from others. You can't do everything all by yourself. Oga is here, he cannot do all the work that is done in M&E. And so delegation is very, very important. Assigning responsibility for a task to someone else to free up some space for you so that you can concentrate on other things. Like Oga's work will be, majorly to think and see how the organization, how the unit will progress. But by the time he focuses his attention on everything that is going around, he will not have the time to think strategically in order to move the unit or the department. But again, for delegation, you have to be able to identify others who can really do the work, who are dependable, who you know can do the work, and you can go back to do other things. So, but another way to get help is try to buy time. Yes, you buy the time. How do you buy the time? You can pay for services like washing of your car. I really find it very, very difficult to wash car. That is my own personal thing. And then I don't like ironing clothes. I don't like ironing my clothes. So if you can afford it, you pay for those services. Someone can even help pick your kids from school or to any other place. But when it is the right people, they can help you. So you can buy time using all those other means. You can't do everything for yourself because you want to save money. Yeah, you will definitely crash. Yeah, you definitely crash. And the same money you don't want to spend, you will spend it in the hospital. Stop procrastinating. A lot of times we don't, especially when the task is not very pleasant or it's not that easy to do. It's okay, I'll do it next time. Okay, let me just think of when to do it. You want to go into it, immediately something will just remind you, but I've not gotten this yet. You want to write, for you that you're writing your project. Maybe you want to go on, but you just remember that you don't have this material, and then you begin to foot drag. It's okay, I'll do it tomorrow. It really will not give you the right result. So try breaking down the tasks into smaller segments that require less time and commitment and result in specific realistic deadline. So when you have tasks that look overwhelming or unpleasant, there are ways to go around it. You may even try first by getting the materials that you need for the project. Once you have everything on ground, it's not just to sit down and write. You'll be able to now sit down and start putting your notes together. All right, that is for procrastination. So, number 6, manage external time wasters. This one is, I think it's about the most important one here in this presentation. How to manage external time wasters. Your time may be impacted by external factors imposed by other people and things, such as one interruption we face during the day. For instance, you're sitting to do something. The normal jokes will just come, and instead of you to sit down and really focus on that thing, you are distracted, you are interrupted. Something comes up to take your attention from what you are supposed to be focusing it on. So those are the things we need to see how we can manage. And then this thing that people do over the phone, trying to control you. Yeah, these days you notice that it's hard to stay for 10 minutes, except if you didn't bring your phone, like we advise not to. If you are with your phone around, it's hard for you to stay in 10 minutes without touching the phone. You find yourself feeling with your phone most of the time, and those things can take your time. You may see a post on the social media that will take your attention from what you may be doing at that particular time. So, and then unexpected or unwanted visitors. There are days on some things and just then you receive a call. Sorry, are you people at home? I'm coming, at a time that you didn't really want to have those people. But you cannot stop people from visiting you. But there are ways you can manage it. You can manage your time by, politely turning down some things. Yes. When you get down, you see needless reports or junk mail, like the example I was giving about my former colleague. He would. But look, I have already planned this meeting over a lunch. Yes, you can have a very serious meeting over a lunch. I remember, when one customer was trying to get me to facilitate loan for him, he took me out and we were just eating some things. In my mind, I knew you are trying to make the environment calm so that I can do what you want me to do. But I was very careful and a little bit conservative with such exposure, so I know what I wanted. But again, you can really get some deals. You can close some deals over lunch. That is multitasking. But there are things you cannot really do together. Yeah, I see that some. There are things you cannot really do together. With more techno gadgets available than ever before, multitasking has become the norm, a common form of multitasking. A business meeting over lunch. You can accomplish productivity with that during that brief time. But again, look at this. Talking on the phone with a supplier while simultaneously emailing a customer can be tricky and detrimental. Yeah, you think, oh, let me multitask. You're talking over the phone and then you are typing something. You are going to type rubbish. At the end of the day, you have sent it. Yeah, and that may be the first impression or about the only impression you have to give most people. Or the riskiest one, talking and driving. Though we do it most times, I still do it. I do it when it is right. but no time really is right. When I think it is right, I do it. But no time is really right to be making a call while driving, especially in this Abuja. That we have people who are actually learning, but they will not have the courtesy of putting their learner sign so that other road users can be very careful of them. So you see people drive anyhow, so it is very detrimental to try to multitask this way. If Chichi is doing Reddit and is also doing dating like we're doing the other day, we're trying to come. The other one is okay because we're trying to achieve one thing using 3 methods. But imagine we want to achieve 3 things using different methods at once. We're going to end up with a result that is not clean, and it's not correct. So, in a nutshell, multitasking should have to be at the right time and for the right reason, even though it's a skill that is now being demanded by employers these days. So, thank you. All right. Happy New Month, Steve. I love us already.
Alright, so can we get some feedback? Include
Thank you, Marvins. And thank you for managing the time well. You led by example. The session was very informative, as most of our session has been. But this issue of time, and I don't know, really, somehow most of us are not able to manage the time well. Most times the reason you can't tell, and I'm still here to find answers to those reasons or see them. Like you want to do things, and it looks like it's when you don't really have a lot to do that the time is slow. Then when you have a lot to do, it's as if it's faster. So I don't know why it's like that. Maybe there are reasons for it. But it was a good session. Thank you.
Yeah, Marvins, thanks for this presentation. And I think it's also the classic presentations on time management that one also takes for granted if it doesn't come into your mind. It's a behavioral thing, and something very remarkable that I can take from this is the fact that it's a misnomer to say time management. Yes, it's something that you can control. So it's more of how you manage the events of our life in relation to time. And I must tell you, to not go crazy in this environment, you have to be a little easy with time management. Okay, you call for a meeting and you told everybody we're meeting at 6. You show up at 6, everybody is showing up at 6:30. Obviously, you can't have a meeting without people being there. Or you go to a church service where the person says it's going to be 2 hours, takes extra 30 minutes. He has taken into another meeting because when you were planning for the other thing you scheduled that this person was going to finish at 2. And you continue like that, especially in this environment. So not to be gracious and to still be nice and be smiling, you have to because if you really follow all those things, you'll be grumpy at some point because someone has taken from you, but I mean, what you have said, what makes it meaningful to me is that it's the misnomer and that is in relation with the event of our lives. And when we look at this priority as being shown again, it lets you know that, do I really need to wait for the end of this thing? Can I move? And then also simple things like setting agenda for a meeting. And one thing I've noticed from some of the conversations I engage with internationally is that you don't need to discuss an issue and like if it's okay, what are we going to do about coming to work early, for instance. We don't need to debate it till everybody exhausted and we're all tired of talking about that. If we have set 5 minutes to discuss it, after 5 minutes elapses and the person taking minutes have taken some points we make, we'll say, oh, 5 minutes for this agenda, we set it over, we're moving to the next agenda. So it's just being conscious of that time is not infinite. And as you quoted in that Buddha thing, we have time, but we don't really have. Consciously having that at the back of our mind, I think is really important, and I'm glad that you've shared all of this with me. These are the things I'm going to take back. Again, I remind myself, time wasters, all of those things. Maybe, I'm sure using all of this, it will really, really improve my productivity. And knowing that fully I can multitask. It's not as effective as we always think it is. So, your presentation skills were wonderful. You were audibly clear. Thank you so much. And I didn't see your first presentation, but I think this must be a remarkable improvement to what that was. And as well, you managed time correctly. Thank you very well.
So I was saying, what do you do to church? Because it seems like that's where they kind of take
I just use that as an example.
No, I'm just saying.
No,
I'm just saying that, okay, for other places you could politely excuse yourself, but in church, because you're a worker, you have to stay to the end of the service. So what do you do?
Virtually nothing you can do. Can you do anything about that? In the society we live today, if you try to stand up, just like Ben said, you have to be in between. If you go hard on people and say, they will look at you like you are the mommy water in the church.
You don't respect your mind.
Yeah. So it's like so some of those things you just have patience, but it hurts if you are the type that keeps time. You're always on time and people come, and those people who come late will want to stay and stay and stay and stay and stay. It happens even here in the office here. When you report here by 7:30, you're already here. 7 you are here. Some people when it's 5:30, they want to start writing a mail, or they want to involve you in one small meeting and all that, and they want you to be patient. They are not looking at it that you have already spent 10 hours, even 10 hours already in the office, and they want you to stay late. And when they see you leaving at 5:30, they say, you are timekeeper, you are this, but they're not trying to look at when you resume your work. And most times you resume very early. They think you are just coming here. You have responded to 5 to even 7 mail, read some and did something before they even came. So once it's evening, you have already scheduled what you want to do. You have already fixed appointment with some people that you are leaving the office by 5:30. You will be here. So they don't know about that. And once you are dragged back here, you are dragging somebody back there. So it's very difficult in this environment, but we just do it with patience and understanding with people, knowing fully well that we can't control it 100%. You just bear with it.
Maybe, let me just make my own contribution. I actually think that this is probably one of the most important sessions anybody can have. I personally, this session, I take it by myself, to myself, every year. There is no year. This year I think I've done this maybe 4 times. Yes. No, not let's say 4 times. More than 4 times I think. I just remember now. I remember 2 extra that I traveled to Lincoln. I've done this 20 times. And let me just add a few things to it. You see this quadrant here? High importance, low urgency. Right?
Yes, sir.
High importance, high urgency. If you look at these two, this is where everybody works, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you want to beat timelines because it's important, it is urgent, right? But for years now, this is where I try to put the most of my attention. Where it's most important and low urgency. If you put more of your time here, you will have less activities here. I don't like crashes. I don't like emergencies. I don't like them because emergency means you're not in control. If you want to stay in control, this is where it is. And studies have consistently shown that all the most successful people, this is where they invest the majority of their time. The people who barely get by and achieve the average result, this is where they invest plenty of their time. And it is usually because they invest very little time here that they end up investing so much time here. Is these activities here? What defines this activity is importance. If you check the entire 4 quadrant, this is the only place where you have high importance. Right? The only other place where you have it is here. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
So it's these activities here that eventually jump in here most of the time. Apart from a few things that you did not envisage that's coming and then all of a sudden become important. Like I come and write you a mail now that I need to go, I just got a call, I need to go to a meeting at the next 5 minutes. It has become urgent and important, right?
Yes.
That one was never here, but jumped in here. But it could have been here for me all along. I didn't inform you, and that's why sometimes I just tell people, don't complicate my life. Don't create emergencies for me because of your own inefficiencies. You get? And many people do it to others. Like you said, when somebody calls you at meeting at 5:30, sometimes the person had it in mind all through the day, but never got to doing it, and then calls you for a meeting at 5 o'clock. And then you have to start doing it. Now, it is also, if you notice within the MIE team, you notice that I don't like giving people in the state office very, very short deadline. Have you guys noticed it? Yeah. It's because I don't want them to operate like too much in this quadrant. In this quadrant, people achieve high results and people pack their bag at how much they can do when they're extension. But I usually think that people who celebrate too much of importance here, I usually will predict that give the person 20 years, the person usually won't go very far with his life. It doesn't matter how competent he is. If you operate too much in this quadrant, you can't make too much in your life. Because all the high achievers can see something in 20 years that they can achieve and they are planning about it today. Better planners operate in high importance, low urgency. Do you agree with me?
Yes,
Now, so this for me is the most important quadrant where we need to put in our time. The next thing I just wanted to also contribute is this quadrant was made very popular. I have a presentation I do on this and I call it the decision toolkit. That's what I call it. But the person who popularized this quadrant is actually Stephen Covey, the man who wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and wrote First Things First too. Yes, he's the one who popularized this entire quadrant you see here. If you look at it very well, it is 2-dimensional. What are the dimensions? One dimension is importance. The other dimension is urgency. Urgency is actually saying, you understand, how soon will something be really key? Do you understand? Importance is saying, how key is it? But there's a new dimension that some people have added, which is significance. You understand? And that significance is saying, for how long will it be key? I hope you know there are things that are important, that are urgent now. They also are important now, but in the next 1 year they are unimportant. The next 24 hours they are not important. You also have to be careful so that you're not only acting based on importance and urgency. Because if the thing is not going to be important for long enough, then for me, it should not be so high on a priority. You get? That is one of the things I think we probably need to look at when we look at all of this. Now, here is where all of us have our biggest struggle. This is where I have some of my biggest struggles. And I know I've made plenty of progress with it. And the other day, Ben was testifying how he doesn't even bring his phone here. This is where that progress is. High urgency, low importance. The average phone call you get in your entire day doesn't translate to anything very, very meaningful. People tell me, how about an important call? And I tell people, if a call is truly important, it usually gets repeated. They'll call you over and over and they'll call you again. If you say, okay, maybe they invite you for a job interview, that will always be preceded by a mail. Even when they call you, that is the second line.
Yeah.
It's not the first line. So anything that is really that important usually doesn't end at once. So when you see people letting the phone that they bought with their money control them. Again, if I look at it, I was talking to Casey the other day. I told him, I said, there are ways that I evaluate programmers, and sometimes I can assess them by two things: how they leak sweet. One, you understand, and how they drive. And I told him practically, but because I don't see programmers leaking sweet very often, right? I usually will work with how they drive or how people perceive that they drive. If anybody who is ever so fast, you understand, tells me something is going to last 1 hour, in my mind I add 10 minutes to it. Because when they calculate like their speed is going to be the only essence that is to it. That's how they calculate. They forget that sometimes when you drive, you stop on the road to wee. And hold up can come up that you did not create. They don't factor all of that into it. And most of the time when they want to calculate how long it takes to make a journey, they just look at the kilometer, my reading. Here to Kaduna is so and so kilometers, so I'll make it so time. But how long it takes to get things isn't only about a kilometer. There are more things that are not under your control. You get? So we need to also be able to factor that in. So here, every time your phone rings, if you check that my phone is not here, I told myself, Marvins is probably going to tell us something very important today, so I will not even have the temptation of my phone even beeping and taking my distraction. So I have to listen to this full time, so I kept it away in the office. Every time your phone rings, it takes your attention away from it. And the phone is one thing, because you know it's going to cut very soon. It's urgent. Act now or the phone will go dead. But you know the most important thing? One of the ways you get to know somebody who is not going to go very far with their life and somebody who is easily distracted is if their phone never idles. Every time you call somebody and you consistently get them, that person is either not busy or very easily distracted. Anybody who is very busy and very easily distracted, right, know that their phone will always idle. You will call them but they will not pick. Because they are probably, you're here now, anybody who calls you, you won't pick. One, because you're involved, and two, because you have the discipline to say no to that call and not to pick it. You get? So check anybody who wants to call anybody really important. You don't get them usually at first dial. And even if you get them at first dial, not all the time you want that, you can easily get them. And that's why those people, you need to find alternate ways like emails, WhatsApp messages, or you have to show patience in calling them very, very often. The other thing I just wanted to add, maybe two more things I'll add. People will say I'm making my own presentation, but I think we can just add it to it. The other thing I want to add is that I wrote here when you mentioned no. And I wrote here that when it comes to time management, no is more important than yes. To me. No is more important than yes. To me as an individual. I think you need to say no to far more things and say yes to very few things. If you don't say no to many things, then you're just going to be an easy candidate for distraction. In any ways, I hope you know some of the times, the way you see it in wrestling, sometimes people stop others from winning by just distracting them when they're about to win. Are you aware?
Yes.
That thing that happens in wrestling and you're getting mad at is what we do to ourselves every day in life. And sometimes it's only your phone. If I'm driving now, because I drive and I read, most of the time. When I was driving to work this morning, I read. Most of the time. You understand? So, to avoid distractions, you have to find a way to say no. The thing is to find a subtle way to say no. And I'm sure you guys have seen it several times. A few days ago, Chris walked in here and he wanted us to go for a meeting upstairs, right? That was the day before yesterday, isn't it? Yeah? And I was smiling and listening with him, but all I gave was a no. Right? But as soon as we finished submitting that data to USID, I asked City to go and tell them the meeting upstairs. You have to be able to say no. The nice guy, you're not going to be a nice guy with everybody being happy with yourself and you ending up being unhappy with yourselves because you don't meet the goals that were set for the day. What Chris was talking to me about, you understand, he probably didn't know about it early enough. As soon as he knew, he came to tell me. But what did it automatically do? He put that deliverable into high importance and urgency, right? You get? But there was already another activity that was even of higher importance for that same day. So even though I knew that what she was telling me was important and urgent, I knew there was something more important that data that will go to USID. So that I've got to say no to one so that I can put my attention in the one that I've said yes to. There are very few things you say yes to during the course of the day, but you have to say no to everything. And sometimes it's as easy as when I make it tells you open the computer and you're browsing. The things that pop up for you to go to are usually seem more interesting than what you open the computer to go to. You've got to say no to those plenty things so that you can say yes to that one thing you're looking for. If care is not taking, you're trying to browse A, but you end up doing B, C, D to G, and you still haven't done enough of A. You understand? It is naive, it's an infantile, you understand? It's like being a child and not being able to focus. In fact, I think it's being a harm to yourself. Somebody asked a question as to what can you do when maybe Ben said when you're called for a meeting and people don't keep to time. Number one is to realize that you can never be in perfect control, like Mr. Tony said. It's the reality of life. Number two is that sometimes if you prompt the people better, they get better results. I'm sure you guys know I'm one of the people who feel that. So that's part of what I think if you do it will help. Other thing I think we can do to help is creating small things that you can do when you have small pockets of time. I have a very important resource I use on my phone when I have a small pocket of time. I can do something else with that phone. You understand? And when you're driving, you're in hold up, people are lamenting and banging their door and getting very furious. Many times I may not do that. Because on my 6 CD loaders are inside my car. Plus, the car also has a cassette that is inside that I've already loaded. You understand? That means 7, right? 4 out of those 7 are loaded with audiobooks. I will just slot one in. Yes, I'm uncomfortable that I'm losing time in traffic. But the truth is that I'm also gaining in traffic. I'm reading. So the time is not completely lost. What I've done is that I've swapped its use to something else. While it's out of my control, I try to put something on it that can be within my control. So for me, time management as it were is actually life management. Because time is the scarcest resource on earth. If you can manage it well, you can manage your life well. Now, the 3 indices I talked about, importance, urgency, and significance, or in better flow, urgency, importance, and significance. If you apply those principles to your time, you will manage your time better. You will never be able to be 100%. That's the truth of the matter. You understand? And sometimes it's not even good to be 100% because you're not a mechanical part. You get? You get? That's one. If you take that approach and apply it to money management, you also find that you get the best out of the money. If time is your scarcest resource, right? Whatever you do to manage that time very, very well, if you use it to manage any other thing that is not even as important as the time, that is not as scarce as the time, money is not as scarce as time is. Because you can only get 24 hours in a day, no more, no less. But everybody can get any amount of money. There is no fixed amount of money that you cannot get in a day. You can get anything in a day. You get. So if you apply it to money management, ask yourself, this thing I want to do, this dress I saw now that my eye is just doing, like if I don't buy it, something will go wrong. There is something urgency for me. How far? How really important will it be? In the next 1 year, the next 5 years, the next 3 years, will I be happy that I made this investment on this dress, on this shoe? You understand? On this phone? You understand? Will it make so much sense? If you do all of that, you will find that you will not fall into the trap that the technology people or the people that do business want you to fall into. Everybody doing technology wants you to buy the highest end thing per time. And sometimes the difference between that highest end thing that is branded and what you already have is not that big. If you follow it, you keep wasting their money, your money, but they keep gaining the money. If you follow the principle of time management to apply it to money, you also find that you use money more productively. Thank you.
Thank you for your
No, it's
presentation.
different from Different from having
Thank you for your Thank you for your presentation. It was very.
And I can imagine that you can probably just send this thing to even somebody who is not in MSH, that you think needs a particular kind of message, and you send it to them and they have access to it.